You've just grown a baby for 10 months. All of a sudden your legs are twitching. You're like, why is this happening?
Blood sugar, how it impacts fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum.
In those first 3 months postpartum, I am pushing that protein goal to 1.25 grams per pound of ideal body mass.
What mom can do while she's pregnant to help her.
If you can take the time to spend 3 months getting your nutrient status up, you set yourself up a way better pregnancy.
I had my first ever root canal in my life, and I just realized that my daughter was literally depleting me. I had hair falling out, which you're told is normal, which is not supposed to be normal.
Low iron in infants can cause irreversible cognitive decline. IQ will be lower. There's nothing we can do about it.
Hi, my name is Vita Delrahim, co-founder of WeNatal. We are so excited to share the episode today with one of our favorites, Kelly LeVeque, who's going to share all the tips and tricks of how to thrive in postpartum. Everything from eating enough protein to balancing your blood sugar and so much more. Enjoy this episode.
So excited to have the blood sugar queen, the Fab Four queen, the postpartum mama queen on our masterclass today. And we're just so excited to pick your brain and talk everything blood sugar, how it impacts fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum, and just generally how you thrived in postpartum. You're a mom of 3 boys. And so maybe we jump into that. Talk to us about postpartum and some of the strategies that you took to live your best life in the most stressful time.
Yeah, postpartum I think is hard for anyone, no matter like how healthy you are going into pregnancy, how active you stay during pregnancy, your delivery, like birthing that child into the world. And, I've had 3 boys. You are immediately like needing to recover physically, like everything from your pelvic floor to your rectus abdominis, like everything needs to come back into place, but you're also all of a sudden having a huge shift in your hormones, which can feel almost like depleting and depressive. And then you're up all night and your lack of sleep from nursing around the clock, if you're nursing around the clock, or feeding your baby formula around the clock, like you are up with that child. So you're sleep deprived. You are probably underfed, and you're excited, you're happy, but energetically like pretty depleted. Mm-hmm. So this is not a time to not ask for help. Like this is the time to ask for help. This is the time to have a team of people, whether that's your mother-in-law, your mom, your husband, hired help. Nutrition is critically important, and blood sugar balance in this time is critically important. So when I am working with a client who's getting ready, let's say for a red carpet roll, I'm looking for 1 gram per pound of body mass. When I have someone in those first 3 months postpartum, I am pushing that protein goal to 1.25 grams per pound of ideal body mass. So we remember, like, you just have a baby, you maybe gained like 20, 40, 60, 80 pounds, depending on your pregnancy. Zero judgment. We look at exactly where you want to be. And that's what I did for myself personally is, I was pushing 150 grams of protein a day in those first 3 months postpartum. And that's really hard to do with whole food, especially when you're just like feel like you're constantly eating. And so I leaned on things, even incomplete proteins like bone broth and collagen. I used amino acids, and I focused on really getting a solid 30 to 40 grams of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that is the trickiest when it comes to breakfast, because it's easy to sit down and have a piece of salmon or halibut or grass-fed steak or ground meat, chicken breast. It's easy with whole animal, complete animal proteins. It becomes a little bit more difficult when you're leaning on trying to get 30 grams of protein from eggs, when one single egg has 6 grams of protein. So protein was really key. Now, the reason for that is because of what protein makes. So when we looked at breakfast, I really like flipped it on its head. I either had Fab Four smoothies, which, we talk about the Fab Four is protein, fat, fiber, and leafy greens. So with a protein powder, you can get up to 30 grams pretty easily. And it isn't so much quantity that you can't finish it.
Yeah.
And that's key. Like,
so it's like a scoop and a half type of thing?
Yeah. I was actually at like 2 scoops.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, this is easy, efficient. I
Easy.
can get it in. I can fuel myself. And then you also know like you have the energy and the nourishment to not only heal yourself, but if you are nursing, feed your baby.
Yeah.
And they require a lot, especially in those first couple months. So what's interesting about protein is when you think about protein, you can think about it like a brick wall, right? So like chicken, fish, steak, whatever it is, it's a brick wall. You are digesting the mortar and absorbing the amino acids. So protein digests to amino acids. Now, amino acids, there's thousands, but our human body only uses 20. And 9 of them are considered essential, meaning we have to get them from our food. You can be fruitarian, vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, keto. I don't care what diet lifestyle you subscribe to. You have to get those amino acids from your food, and they make the other amino acids. And those proteins, which are at the smallest form are amino acids, make everything in your body. Your neurotransmitters, your hormones, the enzymes you need to digest your food and unlock that nutrition, all of your muscle mass, your skin, your ligaments, your tendons. When we think about like healing, like your pelvic floor and like all the relaxin that was released into your body in your 3rd trimester, making everything kind of loosey-goosey. We want everything to solidify back together. We want to feel strong and energized. But also, like, you probably weren't lifting crazy weights or you weren't as active as you were not being pregnant. So that those amino acids are going to be absorbed into your body, and they're going to make your muscle mass, which then creates energy to sustain being a mom those first few years of life, which is kind of crazy. So I can't stress enough the importance of protein. And then also I'd like to explain how protein supports blood sugar balance.
Yeah.
So people think, oh, blood sugar balance, I just won't eat carbs. Not to, ta. No, that's not how it goes. That's what we say to our kids. Ta. It's not no, it's ta. So protein is so amazing. So you eat, let's say you had a piece of salmon. You digest it into amino acids. What's so cool is that amino acids can be stored in your liver. And when your blood sugar starts to drop, which is going to happen, especially if you're nursing, you can see massive fluctuations in blood sugar. All of a sudden you nurse and then you crash low blood sugar, you're starving and you reach for anything in your pantry, right?
Yeah.
But if you're just eating enough protein throughout the day, your liver can act as a reservoir for amino acids. And what happens is your body senses, we're having a dip in blood sugar, and your body can produce glucose or sugar from protein. It's called gluconeogenesis. And so instead of being reliant on outside sources of nutrition to bring blood sugar up, when you are eating enough protein and have those stores of amino acids, your body creates new glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis from amino acids, from protein. So that's why there is no essential carbohydrate. There's essential amino acids from protein, essential fatty acids from fats, like your omega-3s here at WeNatal.
Yeah.
Like, yes, be taking those because you're probably not getting enough. But the essential amino acids and essential fatty acids are essential for us to consume from our food. But there's no essential carbohydrate. There's no essential glucose or fructose. You can make glucose when you need to, if you're having enough amino acids. Now, does it feel good and is it healthful to have fruits and vegetables and feed your microbiome and you have that fiber to push out old estrogen, cholesterol, toxins, detox through bowel movements? 110%.
Yeah.
And it also is a way to fill your stomach and make those meals last in your body. So it's wonderful to have those types of things, but it's not essential to sustain life. And that's how I like to stress to clients how essential proteins are, because they break down to amino acids and we are just a composition of amino acids. And from protein, then we kind of lean on fats. Now, fats can make meals last a really long time. So in postpartum, I focused on at least 1 gram, but pushing really more towards 1.25 grams per pound of ideal body mass in those first 3 months specifically. After the first 3 months, I really was like lowering my protein goals, but still sticking to 1 gram per pound of body mass. I am still nursing my youngest, who is He's a little over a year and a half. He's 19 months, and I am still pushing for that 1 gram per pound of body mass now, just to sustain body composition, to sustain energy. Because when we think about fluctuations in blood sugar, let's say you had a piece of bread, or you even had a bunch of fruit on its own, your blood sugar goes up.
Yeah.
Insulin is released to put that sugar away. We put it in our liver, a little bit in our liver, and the rest goes into our muscles. And then if there's too much, our liver will package it up as a triglyceride. So that's a fat in our blood. And then it'll go find a fat cell to be deposited into, or it'll stay elevated in our blood. And so sometimes I'll get a client's blood test and it'll show elevated triglycerides. And a lot of time that's just like a 48-hour to 72-hour look at like how many carbohydrates and sugars they had the previous couple of days. And so what's interesting about blood sugar balance is like the one thing we have control over. If you can't change the size of your liver, you really have control over your muscle mass, right? So in postpartum, it's really hard to get back to working out. So I'm not saying go do a workout class or start like a soul cycle routine, but body weight exercises, squats and lunges, anything that will strengthen your largest muscles, like your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings. These are really insulin sensitive muscles. And when we're moving them and we're active, they're going to suck sugar out of our bloodstream. This is the only thing we can have control over. You don't have control over the size of your liver, but you do have control over the size of your largest muscles, or all of your muscles, but these do the biggest damage, and how insulin sensitive those are. And that's really dependent on how much we're moving our body. And it doesn't take a lot. Like there was a study that came out that showed that squats and lunges a couple times a day was more effective at glucose management than a 30-minute workout.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you think about that, those like micro exercises where you can say like, can I, after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, do 10 squats and 10 lunges on each side? Or every time, like I remember nursing Julian, and then I would be, which you're not supposed to rock your children to sleep,
but we all did.
But we all did it. And I would be like in the dark room, and I would just be like, okay, 15 squats. And I do my 15 squats, and I'd hold him, and I do my 15 lunges. So it wasn't, I never threw myself back into a crazy workout routine, but I did really focus on building that lean muscle back up, because I know how it's one of the biggest levers outside of the food choices you make in supporting blood sugar balance.
And we like a great way to kind of get that done when you're like super busy as a new mom is habit stacking. So we have a team member, Penny, who actually, while she's brushing her teeth, she does squats.
Amazing.
And it's like 2 minutes of squats a day and she's done.
Yeah.
So finding those ways, but just being mindful that it's important in postpartum.
It is.
And generally.
In general, absolutely. I think why I really like to stress that it's important in postpartum is because of those large swings in blood sugar that can happen when you're nursing, if that's part of your journey, because you're giving so much of your nutrition away, and someone who may generally eat like a whole food diet and feel sort of balanced is then requiring all this energy substrate from the food that they're eating. They're making, glucose out of it. Glucose is being burned in the mitochondria to create ATP. And all of a sudden it's being sucked out of their bloodstream so quickly, and they're crashing down so hard. And you've been there where you're just like, what? I'm so tired. I just hit a wall. I feel anxious. I feel irritable. And in reality, it's probably we've been under proteined. Our body's trying to heal and feed another child. And this is where like asking for help or getting a meal delivery service or finding those easy proteins. Like I have this habit of when I am making breakfast for my kids and making lunches, if I don't have a protein in the fridge, I always have like thinly sliced chicken breasts, or I have salmon that's super easy to defrost. I will throw just 6 salmon fillets with no plan in an oven and roast it for 15 minutes and pull it out, and then it's in the fridge.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this big 6-hour meal prep session for your
100%.
family, because it's not going to maybe get consistent. It won't be something you get consistent with, but those unknowing, like if I just make 20 meatballs and they're in my fridge for the rest of the week, or it's those easy ones.
Yeah.
And that's where I call it meal prep light, where your groceries come in, you rinse and chop and put them in Pyrex. And then when it comes to proteins, you find a little window of 20 minutes or 30 minutes in your week and go like, I'll throw the salmon in, I'll cook all 6, and you just repurpose.
Yeah.
You have to be flexible with what you're eating. It's not going to be gourmet all the time, but really the quality and quantity of what you're eating over like the joy, so to say.
I loved canned salmon as like a replacement for like, because I feel like as a postpartum mom, sometimes even that feels like a big undertaking to like get the salmon. I'm very picky of like where I get my salmon from.
Yeah.
And then, you know, putting it in the oven, it feels like a lot, but like canned salmon, making it like a tuna salad is the easiest. Like it's like my fast food. It's basically what we eat for lunch every day.
Chris calls it cat food.
Yeah.
We make it at our house too.
Yeah.
Like, it smells like cat food in here. I'm like, yep, salmon, male, primal male, you're good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah.
I feel like you broke down postpartum in such a powerful way. I wish I knew, first of all of this after my first. I definitely, looking back, had a form of postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And I think it's so understated, the food that you eat, the sleep that you're not getting, and how the breastfeeding took a toll on me. So just as a personal anecdote, I had hair falling out, which you're told is normal, which is not supposed to be normal. I had my first ever root canal in my life, and I just realized that my daughter was literally depleting me, and I definitely wasn't prioritizing protein. I wish I knew now what I knew then. So for people that it was hard, whether it's the help or prioritizing protein, what other, or if people don't necessarily gravitate towards animal proteins, what other advice do you have? The smoothie is a great one.
Yeah, I think as the smoothie is key. And for people who are really plant-based and they don't really do a lot of animal protein, you know, even just for body composition clients in the past that weren't even in postpartum, I would utilize the smoothie. I would do a double scoop. We'd even like make one for breakfast, and they would put the other half in their fridge for that 2 or 3 o'clock afternoon hit where they just needed a little something extra. Vegan amino acids, that's a phenomenal supplement to include. Anytime it's interesting because I've been using amino acids with my functional MDs for close to a decade now. And it was always, oh, this person in postpartum, or this client who had a full knee replacement or a hip replacement. Oh, this client with an autoimmune disease. And it just kept expanding the number of people, this person with leaky gut or, you know, a gut issue. It just kept expanding the number of really truly like clients or people that needed that kind of support. I think we just live in such a fast-paced world, and it's very fast-paced. It's very stressed. There's an urgency to get back to work. There's an urgency. We're distracted. We're not sitting down and mindfully eating. We're not probably digesting our food as well. If you're not digesting those proteins and unlocking those amino acids, you could be low. And most of the clients I found were. And when we look at amino acid studies, like it's pretty powerful, like even organ weight that increases, like liver weight increases, heart weight increases, because your body needs these amino acids, and we're constantly going through a process where we're catabolic. We're breaking down our body and rebuilding it, breaking down our body and rebuilding it. And if you think about like maybe your early 20s and you're like really stressed about your job and you're trying to be a go-getter, and then all of a sudden you layer on top of that getting married or having a family and making babies, like all of these, we put a lot on women. There's a lot that we carry. And then you have a home and you're like, okay, well, I'm now responsible for everyone's doctor's appointments and all the groceries and all the, you know, holidays. And then you're really
homework. You're
not there
yet. Almost there.
You're just like, you're really carrying a lot of it.
Yeah.
And to digest and unlock that nutrition to heal. And if we're really stressed out, we're making cortisol, we're making adrenaline.
Yep.
Those are also made from amino acids. So we're going to be stealing our nutrients based on need. And so the more you can have, the better you'll feel.
And supplementing with your essential aminos. I'm recently obsessed. I told you how much I've felt energetic from it. I don't feel as tired, even though on most days I always used to say I wake up tired.
Yeah.
And so that could be a great addition to people's routine, right?
Yeah.
To help with the depletion.
I don't like to self-promote, but yes,
I'm promoting for you because I truly believe in it. It's helped me so much when I started taking it.
I have an essentials line, and I call it the essentials line because it truly is the things I think that are essential for most people. And when we see when I look at my practice for the last decade and I look at like these amazing functional MDs that I've gotten to work side by side with, there's a theme of making sure that like the basic nutrients that we have them. And so the amino acids are part of that line, and the magnesium. And I know, WeNatal has magnesium. Like so many people are really depleted when it comes to magnesium. I mean, I just was speaking to someone who had restless leg syndrome, and she had looked everywhere and didn't know why she was having, and then someone told her magnesium, and she's like, I haven't had a bout of restless leg syndrome in like 3 years, but I was debilitated by this for 6 years. Yep. And these are things like, in postpartum, you've given all your nutrients away and you're totally depleted. You've just grown a baby for 10 months and you're, all of a sudden your legs are twitching. You're like, why is this happening? Well, you really have to connect the dots to your nutrient density internally and like where you're at. And the reality is the day-to-day in postpartum is nursing, then the baby's crying, then you're changing the baby, then you're changing yourself, then you're changing the baby, then you're nursing. Yeah. And like, where are we fitting the food in? It has to really be turnkey. And I mean, canned salmon, even frozen meatballs from Force of Nature, like whatever is turnkey and easy for you, meal delivery, grandma, husband, ask for them to support you in filling your fridge, and then find those little, whether you're brushing your teeth or nursing, rocking a baby to sleep, like get some squats in, do some walks, like start to move, get outside, and know like the sleep will come. And if you catch yourself in a bad habit of doom scrolling or getting online or trying to do work or not fall behind, remember that like it will all be there when you come back. I wish I was really a little bit more trusting in that the first couple times around. I finally was that way with my third. And it feels really good to know, like, just to trust the universe that it's all going to work out and come back. And you don't need to be rushing back to it.
Totally.
Such great advice.
So I was going to ask you, since you've had 3 kids, what are some things that you didn't know with baby number 1 that now you know kind of in retrospect having 3 babies?
I think like most first-time moms, I was a little bit stressed out about following the rules. Like, what's Sebastian? He's my oldest. Is Sebastian's sleep schedule? How should I be tracking? I was tracking him like Mad Money. I was like, he's had 3 poops and 2 pees, and he's eaten this much, and he's slept, and he's not on schedule, and he's not following, and is he leaping? And I was checking all of these apps and not really trusting my gut or following my intuition. And I love what experience does to your experience.
Yeah.
By the time Julian was here, we had him swaddled in a Snuggle Me Organic between our 2 pillows, not in a bassinet. Yeah. Like, he was between us. I wake up. I trusted myself that no one was going to roll over him. Yeah. Like, we had the bumper just in case of the Snuggle Me, but like, I'd nurse him. I'd put him down. When he cried and woke up, I'd nurse him. I didn't keep track of it. I didn't schedule. He's the most easygoing, happy baby. And I don't think you can out-cuddle, there's just something about the peace of flowing through it. I think when it's new, knowledge and control feels good because you're scared and you don't know if you're doing it right, but trusting that you were made to do this and you are doing it right. And it's going to change so much. So staying on some type of schedule or some type of following some app or some other expert, like really always go back to who you truly are. I think everyone needs a little bit different things in postpartum, but I love what experience brought to my experience the third time around.
Totally.
There's a lot more ease.
Yeah. And I think also knowing, after you go through it multiple times, that like every phase ends. I think when you're in the thick of things. Even like for me, it was breastfeeding. I breastfed my first for 3 years. And she just like loved breastfeeding. And I loved it too, but there were times where I was like, I am literally gonna die right now. Like I just can't. Like middle of the night. This is like, for 3 years. And, that phase ended and it was so beautiful. And we both look back at it now, like with so much joy. And I think it's like remembering that the kids are constantly like growing and changing and that everything comes to an end.
Yes. Yeah. And having that mindset too, I think we're quick to label our children. I used to do that with Sebastian. I was like, he's not a good sleeper.
Yeah.
He's never been a good sleeper. And you have to be careful. Words carry weight. And I think one of the best things that I ever heard, and it goes along the lines of that, was right now. He's not sleeping well right now.
Yeah.
He is hysterical, so fun and lovely right now. Like you're good, bad, in between. Like it is so fleeting and they're constantly growing, and always giving them the benefit of the doubt and yourself the benefit of the doubt to know like you're going to get through it. You're going to work through it. And it's not who they are. It's what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
So true.
Okay. So speaking of little kids, I'm just thinking like, okay, what does the Fab Four queen feed her children? And like, where did you start? That's a big one for people. Like, what's the first food? And oftentimes you see people, at least here, like go to Mommy and Me and there's like puffs and there's pouches and there's
cereal.
So where did you start?
I love Weston A. Price. I love like traditional nutrition. My boys' first foods were avocado, sauerkraut juice, bone broth, bone marrow, really stewy meats. Mm-hmm. So I love a stew meat with like the fat in a beef broth. I really leaned into the Fab Four. It was like, what protein food am I introducing? What fat food am I introducing? To this day, my boys, like Julian, will eat an avocado like an apple. Like I'll peel it.
Oh, I love that.
Like I'll core it and peel it in fourths, and he'll just eat a fourth of an avocado like on the counter. I'll give him olives. My boys did have a dairy allergy. It causes eczema in our house, so we are low on dairy. I think it's a phenomenal food if you don't have a problem with it. There's like amazing organic regenerative A2 options out there, which are less inflammatory than A1, which is just a more inflammatory casein. So definitely like lean on that. Natural A2 options are also like goat and sheep, like great way to bring in calcium and protein, and easy to eat for kids too. So not in our house, but to my clients' homes and their kids. So really just, trying to be adventurous too. I think when I look at Sebastian's palate, it's very mature. I mean, he will eat any fruit, any vegetable, any protein. He is excited to try new sauces, whether it's like, I don't know, like a za'atar seasoning or like a pesto sauce. And he's like, who made this? What is it? Give it to me.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
And I a little bit took that for granted. The reason why he's like that is because he was my first. So we were cooking together. We were at the farmer's market together. We were at the grocery store together. We used food as, what color is it? What shape is it? What size is it? Is it crunchy? Is it soft? Like, I think parents go like, okay, now it's time to teach my kids. Let's go get those flashcards we got at our shower. Like all the pictures of things. In reality, like bring them into your world. There's so much education that can happen there. And so Sebastian, one of the best gifts you can ever give a new mom is a kitchen tower. So the child gets up to eye level. They're at the counter. They see you cooking. Then we go from the kitchen tower to getting them their own set of knives, their own little apron if you want to get them excited. But that exposure, if you take it seriously in your family and you're plating up and making meals, then they're going to get excited about being a part of it. We do everything starting early with my kids and with also some of my clients' kids, is like ripping the leaves off of cilantro. That's their job. Or, taking a broccoli floret and pulling the florets off of like the big head of broccoli, like where they don't have to be using anything sharp, but can get the job done. Every single point of exposure and modeling increases their acceptance of foods. Yeah. And for so many parents, it can be overwhelming because you're like, oh my goodness, my child is picky. And again, we go back to labeling. My second, it's a little bit difficult to go from one child running a business to buying a house, having 2 children, having to work more because we bought a house, and then really just going like, oh my gosh, we have 2 children. Here's your dinner.
Yeah.
And you just
yeah.
plate it without them knowing what's on their plate. They're not putting it on their own plate. Sebastian always, from the moment he was able to, at like probably like 19 or 20 months, would climb up in that tower. I'd put everything on his plate in front of him. Want this? Yes. Want that? Yes. And with Toshin, it was, crazy dinner.
Yeah.
We're plating, the plates are already made.
Yeah.
There's no say in what it is. He doesn't know the texture. He hasn't got to play in the kitchen and learn and explore in the same way. And it humbled me. Like I had to start over with him, and I had to understand that because he had passed the flavor window, which is from when they're in utero to 18 months of age, which is the easiest time where children will accept new foods and learn to like them. It's like under a dozen times versus like 2 to 3 times that after 18 months, because a toddler who's 2 will say, no, I don't want that.
Yeah.
No. And so instead of forcing, it was just like, hey, bud, will you rinse that celery for me? And I remember turning around. We had moved into our house, and he was like 2.5 years old. And all of a sudden I saw him take a bite of celery, and I was like, don't say anything. Don't turn around.
Yes.
Don't look. Don't acknowledge. We don't want to overreact and be like, oh my God, I'm so glad you did that.
Yeah.
But it's remembering that modeling every exposure point counts. Him washing it, him picking it at the grocery store, at the farmer's market, like him breaking it for you, like all of those little steps are exposure points to improve their palate. So every single meal I serve has the Fab Four in it. It's not maybe as blood sugar balancing as an adult meal because they're children, not because they're very active, one, but it also, there's a lot of food that maybe I'm not in charge of too that comes into their life. So I would say breakfast, we love a Fab Four smoothie. We love eggs. We love Teton grass-fed beef sausage or chicken sausage. We do dinner for breakfast for dinner. So if there's leftover salmon or there's leftover steak, I'm like, would you like last night's steak? I will offer leftovers for breakfast in our house. But for the most part, that's where it is. We do love for example, like a Birch Bender's paleo waffle or like a piece of sourdough bread. Like they're having what you would consider semi-processed or traditionally processed carbohydrates. But always I serve the Fab Four and they know where to look for it. I'll be like, what's your protein? Oh, it's the salmon, it's the steak, it's the sausage, it's the egg. Where is your fat? So
they know. They know what the Fab Four is.
I mean, yes. And it really is like, I talk to them about growing food.
Yeah.
And that their body is really growing fast. Like, look how much you grew this year. Look how big your foot got. I mean, Sebastian went from a size 12 to a 2 in like less than a year.
Wow.
And I'm like, that you have to realize how much energy that requires, but almost how many nutrients you need to eat to make your body grow that big. And so we talk about growing food. And the other food isn't not growing food, but it's specifically pointed out that like these proteins are going to help your body grow. This fat is going to help your body feel full. This fiber, and this is our family, but we talk about their poop. So if there's good formed Bristol stool chart, like number 7 poop, we'll talk about it. I'll say, look, we barely had to wipe. It came out solid.
I actually never talk to my kids about their poop. That's a good.
We do.
And
you do?
Yeah.
I think it's an indicator.
It's a major indicator. It's like a vital sign for them.
Even your pee color, if it's like not nice and clear by the end of the day, you're worried that they're not drinking enough water.
Hydrated.
Yeah.
Well, the poop is interesting because they'll say, Mommy, I'm a no wipe. Like, you don't even need to, I'm a no wipe. And I was like, what did you have in the last 24 or 48 hours? What veggies did you have? We talk about
you tie
the
it back to
fiber.
what
We
they
tie
ate.
it back. I'm like, or if it's kind of not the best consistency or a little messy, I'm like, Bubs, like, I think we're maybe having too many crackers or too many chips, or you went to that birthday party and there was pizza and cupcakes. Like, we really need to get some more fiber in your body. We need to get some protein and growing food, but we really need to get some fiber so that we can fix this. And they're like, can I have carrots? Can I have an apple? Like, they know what to go and get.
That's amazing.
I think relating it back and giving them the tools and the signs is brilliant.
Yeah.
And also, I think back to your words are so powerful. Reminding new parents that like you have to introduce it way more than once, and not just say they don't like broccoli. Like what was the number that you said?
It was
at least
at least a dozen times.
Times.
But there was a study that showed that on average, if a caregiver, whether that's a mom, a nanny, or a grandparent, gets told no between 5 and 8 times, they stop offering that food. Your child's like, I don't want broccoli, I don't want broccoli, I don't want broccoli, I don't want broccoli. They just literally stop plating it for that child. And they may even eventually stop making it for their entire family.
Wow.
So the impacts are vast and large, and they impact the health of the whole family. So just remember, like, don't stop modeling and exposing them, especially to the foods that they don't like. And whether that's like changing the shape, the texture, the cooking, texture by cooking it a different way, seasoning it a different way, it all matters. A dip, and it can feel like, oh gosh, that's overwhelming. How am I going to do that? But in reality, if you just buy it, you'll end up doing something with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you can get them in that kitchen tower,
to help you,
getting
them involved is like a game changer.
I
remember
so
once I took Eden to the farmer's market. She's my 8-year-old now, but this was like maybe when she was 5. And we bought, like, there were all kinds of color of cauliflower. So I was like, let's make rainbow cauliflower. So we bought the cauliflower. We designed it as a rainbow on the sheet pan. And, like, she ate cauliflower. And like you with the celery, I was, like, freaking out because I was so excited. Yeah. But it was the first time she ate cauliflower. And she loves cauliflower now.
Yeah. It really just, the whole world is new for these children.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, where are they going today? Like, what are they eating? Who is this person? So when they start to be able to exert control over their life, they will do it, especially as they move into like toddlerhood, 2, 3 years old, that like power, they're like understanding, oh, I can say no. And I don't have to do something, or my mom or dad will stop. And we want it to be collaborative, and you want to make it feel safe. And that's the perfect way to do it.
I have a question. Yeah. You mentioned that their palate starts actually in utero, which I think is a fun fact. Like, did everyone know that like what I'm eating in my pregnancy is actually going to affect their, palate? Can you talk about that and like what mom can do while she's pregnant to help her future child?
And the hard part is like in pregnancy, you may be nauseous and you may just want bland foods like bread and crackers or whatever it is in the first trimester. And then that might bleed in even after you've kind of come back down to baseline and you're not nauseous and you're not having all these symptoms, but you now have habits and your palate and your cravings are leaning sweet because you've kind of had dysregulated blood sugar in your first trimester and you've been nauseous and you've had these new habits. So then we're not really going into eating a variety of bitter flavors or sour flavors like a green leafy salad or a smoothie or like a Brussels sprout, something cruciferous with sulfur. Like you're really kind of sticking to the safe foods. I would say for most of my clients, if they don't have nausea and they go into their first trimester eating a variety of foods, they can sustain that. And it was my experience that with Sebastian, I was all good. Like, I feel like I had the nutrient reserves. I had the B level, B vitamin reserves. I'd been taking functional doses of B vitamins. I'd been really active. I could eat a variety of produce, no problem. And I continued to eat those spicy, sour, umami, like all the flavors. And I know that plays a role in his palate. With Toshin, I went into that depleted with iron. I ended up having to have iron IVs. I know that I breastfed Sebastian for 18 months postpartum and then went directly into, I was still nursing, and then all of a sudden I was pregnant. Oh, wow. And so I had no recovery time really to up my reserves. And I was majorly nauseous, food aversions to protein, only wanted carbohydrates, and those habits could stick. And Toshin is a little bit my cookie monster. Like, he likes the bland flavors. He'll eat protein, like a beef burger, but like he is not, it's been work. And so what I would say is if you are nauseous, set a food alarm or set a calendar alarm, a date to check in with yourself. And I do that with clients who are pregnant when I'm working with a pregnant client throughout their journey is we'll set a calendar alarm at the 12-week mark, the 14-week mark, the 16-week mark, and a little questionnaire in that calendar appointment. Like, how are you feeling? How's your nausea? How's your energy levels? Would this be a great week for you to introduce more vegetables? Could you potentially schedule a workout class? Because if you can get back on track or you can get back to a normal routine once the symptoms subside, it will give you more energy. That more energy, when we work out, we eat better. When we eat better, we sleep better.
Totally.
And then we want to work out again. It becomes very cyclical. And a lot of times it's just habit. So how can we get you back in the habit of eating a variety of foods, getting movement back into your life? And it's those little triggers that really help.
I love it.
So you mentioned something about food aversions linked to nutrient depletion.
Well, nausea is increased in women in pregnancy when they have a B6 deficiency. So a lot of times a client, if someone has really severe nausea, we will give them B6 alone. WeNatal has a high dose of B vitamins, and if someone can take that in trimester 0 or the primester or the, however you want to coin it, the 3 months prior to getting pregnant, that can really support preventing excess nausea.
So important.
Yeah.
Like these nutrients are so powerful.
I mean, if you can take the time to, and you guys preach this all the time, to spend 3 months getting your nutrient status up, getting the oxidative stress, the ones you can control, whether that's like alcohol or smoking or excessive poor sleep, like excessive screen time. If we can start to bring those down while bringing our nutrient density up, you set yourself up for a way better pregnancy.
Totally. And then you talked a little bit about the iron deficiency, which is, when we were working on the WeNatal formulation, we went back and forth a lot on like, should our formula have iron or should it have calcium? Because you can't combine both of them because they compete for absorption. And we ended up landing on iron being more important than calcium, only because it's a little easier to get iron from food. And also like in our case,
calcium from food.
Calcium from food. And in our case, we were both iron deficient in our pregnancy, and we just wanted to make it easy for moms to just get everything they need from one. So when you were on WeNatal, did anything change from you? Because I know with Tashin, you were not on WeNatal because we didn't exist yet.
Yeah. No, I didn't need iron infusions, or I wasn't borderline anemic with Julian. It was amazing. Like I was fine, and I'm really glad that WeNatal went the direction of adding iron, because I know, a lot of times people will say we don't add iron because it causes constipation, but there are so many forms of iron, and so many different forms have different bioavailability and different symptoms, and we don't. The type of iron in WeNatal is not causing constipation. It's highly bioavailable. And what we need to remember is iron is literally the Uber that delivers oxygen and nutrients to every cell in your body, including the cells that are multiplying at an exorbitantly fast rate when you're building a baby in your body. And when you think about calcium, if someone has food aversions, like the 2 foods I leaned on when I was pregnant with Tashin and super nauseous was cottage cheese and Greek yogurt.
Yeah.
Like outside of dairy products, if anyone is having broccoli or any type of, the majority of green leafy vegetables have a dose of calcium. Like it's so readily available in plant and animal-based foods that you're getting that. If you have food aversions to protein and you are not getting enough iron, the side effects of that are not great for how you feel during your pregnancy and the health of your child.
Yeah.
I mean, even in your 1-year doctor's appointment, people don't realize it, but they'll prick your baby's toe. They'll check for iron levels in your child. And that's because low iron in toddlers and infants can cause irreversible cognitive decline. Basically, the IQ will be lower. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. It's so important.
So critically important. And the mom's iron levels are then, if you're nursing, directly influencing the child's iron levels.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And
important.
something I learned that I want to share with the audience. So I had my second is also the snack queen, we call her. It was really stressing me out that I felt like she was never getting proper nutrition. And an Instagram reel that Ronit sent me from Dr. Elisa Song that stated that sometimes picky eaters could be a zinc deficiency. And then ever since I started putting zinc in her water, it's completely opened up her palate, and I'm forever grateful. And like back to the nutrients being such a huge portion of life. I think we sometimes just don't even realize that like it's crucial. It could change your trajectory of your life, of your kids' life. What we do to set up our foundation before we have kids is so important. And so I'm sharing in case it even helps one person.
It's going to help
Dr.
so
Song
many people.
Changed my life. I've told her that many times. That one Instagram reel has made my daughter, she now eats chicken. She'll eat some beef, like ground beef. I mean, I've cried tears of joy. So that one thing, and before she would like have a hard gag aversion to the point where I did occupational therapy thinking that she had like issues with her
tongue tie,
yes,
lip tie.
I went through all of it.
Texture issue.
Thousands of dollars in medical bills, and they're all like, no, she's small, but it's fine. And then this one nutrient actually changed her eating. And so it goes back to everything you've said. Like it's truly take the time, know the ingredients. They're not all created equal. It's very exciting to see that, you know, we've had just through Egg Quality Plus and WeNatal, we've heard so many testimonials of how, you know, some couples who've been through rounds and rounds, sometimes 10 to 14 rounds. And we're so grateful to like just be able to educate and have you by our side.
The success stories of WeNatal are just, that's the reason. That's the mission.
It's the reason.
You know?
The reason.
It's amazing.
It's really powerful.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly.
My
How
pleasure.
can people find you?
I'm at Be Well by Kelly on Instagram and Facebook, kellyleveque.com online. Come say hi. I launched a YouTube channel where I'm making healthy meals online and teaching busy parents how to plate up really nutrient-dense foods. Because, I mean, that truly is it. Look at that, zinc deficiency, and now we've opened up a whole palette, or, you know, suboptimal zinc levels. We won't say deficiency. Just it's powerful what these nutrients can do. So yeah, ways to get more nutrient-dense foods into our diet.
You've inspired us. You've helped us so much with our eating and protein prioritizing and all that. So thank you for everyone from our community. You're going to help so many people. So
My pleasure.
Thank you.